Okay, problem 3. They're getting progressively more difficult. There is a huge hint. A equals -1. And we see that the graph is going down. It's not anything other than -1. Now your job is to just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know one of my answers is x equals 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my other answer is x equals -5. So this is weird. I'm starting with the answers. All right, well, now I'm going to work my way backwards. So I'm actually going to get the factors first. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. The factor would be x plus 5, and my factor would be x minus 6. We would subtract 6. These are the factors, and so I'm going to work it backwards to get standard form. Before this, factoring means to divide. They must have been multiplied together. So we're going to multiply this out. And this is going to be backwards of factoring. So x plus 5, x minus 6, x squared minus 6x plus 5x minus 30. Put together our like terms, x squared minus 1x minus 30. The only issue with this is a is supposed to be -1. So I need to make a -1. All that means is take this and multiply it all by -1. And so my standard form will be y equals -1x squared plus 1x, we're multiplying the whole thing by -1, plus 30. And if I were to get out a graphing calculator and graph that, I need to check to see that it goes through the correct spot. So let's do that real quick. Press y equals, I'll type that in, -1x squared plus 1x plus 30. It looks like the graphic goes to the correct spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. There's and looks good to me. Standard form. So we can box that in. And again, we're not going to really go through the factoring. I'm going to reverse. So real quick, if we were to factor this, I would have the -1, but I got the x plus 5, x minus 6 is equal. That my answers were x equals -5, x equals +6. So factoring was sort of given in this problem. You might look at that and say, well, the graph is given too. I'm not going to argue with anybody on that. All right, I'll be consistent. Go quadratic formula next. A equals -1, B equals 1, C equals 30. The description. Squared minus 4AC. Go to my calculator. Clear screen. B squared, well, B was 1 squared minus 4 times A, -1 times C, 30, and the discriminant is 121. A positive number, I should get 2 real answers. Of course I get 2 real. -5 and 6. Now we do the entire formula. X equals the opposite of B, plus or minus the square root of the discriminants, all over 2 times A, and 2 times -1 is -2. Square root of 121 is 11. -1 minus 11 divided by -2. -1 plus 11 would give me 10 divided by -2. And the other answer is -1 minus 11. That's -12 over -2. My answers are x equals -5 and x equals 6. I know, shocking how that works. I can see it on the graph. I can see it in the quadratic formula. I can see it in factoring. Let's see, what's next? Vertex form. Might as well do vertex form. So vertex form. Let's see. A is -1. B is 1. C is 30. H is the opposite of B divided by 2 times A. That's -2. So H is 1/2. There we go. K is what you get when you plug that into your standard form. So my standard form, of course, was -1x squared plus 1x plus 30. And so that's -1 times, well, 1/2. I'll be a decimal person for us. 0.5 squared plus 1 times 0.5 plus 30. And I'll go to the calculator. -1 times 0.5 squared plus 1 times 0.5 plus 30. And it comes out to be 30.25, so K is 30.25. There we go. So vertex form, y equals -1, x minus the h number, 0.5, plus the k number, 30.25. There it is, vertex form. Complete the square, of course, is just taking vertex form and setting it equal to 0. Again, the cheater's method. I better get -5 and 6. Subtract 30.25 from both sides. -1 times x minus 0.5 squared is equal to -30.25. Divide by -1. X minus 0.5 squared is equal to 30.25. Take the square root. X minus 0.5 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 30.25. 5.5. We add 0.5 to it, and it's a positive 5.5, and we add it to -5.5. Well, 5.5 plus 0.5 would be 6, and -5.5 plus 5 would be -5. There we go. That is complete the square. So the only thing I would ask about the graph, we already have the graph. We got standard form, factoring, quadratic formula, vertex form, completing a square. Let's make a table to go with our graph. Even though the graph is already there, let's make our table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. In the middle would be 0.5, and it was up 30.25, H and K. Okay, that looks reasonable right about there. And I've got the answers, of course, -5 and 6. They're both the same distance away. There's 6, there's -5. And how about they're called zeros. And how about the